A legacy or a burden? That was the first question haunting Commander Dorian Kael as he gazed at the massive, lifeless giant at the center of the hangar. The alien ship, named Heliarchus by the enigmatic and generous Scorvin, looked less like a gift and more like a cruel cosmic joke. Its surfaces were a patchwork of metals, fused without any apparent logic, and scars resembling battle wounds spread like dark veins across its structure. But why would the Scorvin choose to deliver such a thing to humanity? What was special about this wandering wreck? Was it a genuine gesture of goodwill or a trap in disguise? The answer seemed as distant as the stars twinkling in the night sky. Kael knew one thing: no one gives a gift without expecting something in return. Humanity, relegated to the edges of the galactic map, was little more than a curious experiment for advanced species. If this is friendship, I'd prefer solitude, quipped Arlen Voss, the chief engineer, with his usual sarcasm. He examined one of the ship's panels, which appeared to have been burned and patched with incompatible materials. Half of this doesn't fit, and the other half, well, it looks ready to blow up in our faces. Or maybe it was made to teach us something, countered Lena Corrin, the strategist and the team's improbable optimist. The real question is, what are we going to do with it? Kael crossed his arms, surveying his team. They were an unlikely mix of specialists, military personnel, and scientists, all united by a single, impossible mission: to turn the unacceptable into the indispensable. He knew that what lay before them was more than just metal and circuits. It was a test of resilience. If the Scorvin want to challenge us, so be it, Kael declared, his voice echoing through the hangar. We'll take apart every bolt and find out whether this is a trap or an opportunity. One way or another, we'll come out of this stronger. Under the dim hangar lights, the team took their first steps toward unraveling the secrets of the Heliarchus. Humanity had been handed a puzzle, and failure was not an option. The silence in the room was broken by Dorian Kael's incisive declaration: "We're not just building a ship, we're shaping the future." Every glance exchanged among the team carried the same understanding. This wasn't about bolts and circuits. It was about proving that Earth, ignored and underestimated, could not just survive, but excel. The Scorvin and other galactic powers had made it clear humanity was nothing more than a speck of dust in the cosmic vastness. The challenge wasn't just technical, it was symbolic. Transforming that dysfunctional ship into something formidable would be an unexpected blow to the pride of the superior civilizations, and perhaps, just perhaps, a step toward interplanetary respect. Arlen Voss broke the silence. "All right, Commander, where do we start? The engines or that thing?" He gestured toward a chaotic tangle of wires. "Neither," Lena Corrin said, consulting a tablet. "We start with the structure. If it can't hold, nothing else matters." For weeks, the team worked tirelessly. Every layer of the hull was stripped down and reinforced with alloys developed by Earth's orbital industries. The metal was shaped to withstand both atmospheric re-entry and potential space combat. The ship began to take form, rugged and threatening. Meanwhile, the engineers focused on propulsion. The original engines, impressive on paper, were a practical joke in reality. Voss proposed something bold. "We're not fixing this, we're replacing it. We'll use fusion reactors from the Mars Colony Project. They're not pretty, but they're reliable." And so, the new engines came to life. They weren't masterpieces, but they provided enough power to move the ship, exceeding all expectations. Lena and her team dove into rebuilding the ship's internal systems. Absurd controls and chaotic wiring were replaced with human-designed interfaces, while modular components made the ship's functions versatile. But it was the work of Orlan Tarek, an eccentric physicist, that impressed the most. Tarek, usually reclusive, emerged with intriguing calculations, suggesting a modification to the energy core that could completely transform the ship's potential. By the end of the second month, the Heliarchus wasn't just a functional ship. It was a symbol of what humanity could achieve: resilience, ingenuity, and above all, the determination to challenge the impossible. And you, what would you do when faced with such a challenge? If you had only scrap and ingenuity, could you create something that would change humanity's destiny? Leave your thoughts below and share your ideas. After all, we're only beginning this journey, and we want to know, how far do you think the Ascendant can go? It was hard to ignore the weight in Orlan Tarek's words as he boarded the Heliarchus, his expression a mix of exhaustion and excitement. "I've got it," he said, gripping a box filled with diagrams and notes. The rest of the team's eyes were fixed on him as he spread the papers across the makeshift conference table. "Tarek, explain," Dorian Kael ordered, arms crossed. "If this is more than a pile of scrap, what exactly are we looking at?" Tarek pointed at the detailed schematics. "This ship wasn't designed for combat or direct exploration," he began, gesturing energetically. "It was designed to adapt. Look at these modules. This isn't random. It's an advanced modular system capable of transformation." "Transform into what?" Arlen Voss interjected, frowning. The physicist offered a sly smile. "Anything we want." The room fell silent as the revelation hung in the air. This wasn't just a defective ship. It was an engineering blueprint waiting to be unlocked. The Scorvin hadn't just handed over junk. They'd provided a model of limitless potential. Innovation. The discovery changed everything. The team now worked with absolute focus. Voss and the engineers integrated experimental weaponry, high-efficiency plasma cannons, and kinetic weapons based on ion technology still in prototype stages. Tarek, meanwhile, led a team to create hybrid defensive systems, blending Scorvin technology with human creativity. Every module was adapted to maximize functionality and power. Meanwhile, Lena Corrin and her team transformed the Heliarchus's interior. What had once been a confusing maze of alien controls became a functional, flexible, and efficient operations center. By the 14th month, the ship was unrecognizable. It wasn't elegant, but it was imposing and formidable, a symbol of resilience and determination. Then came the Scorvin's invitation, a battle simulation, an exercise to evaluate humanity's progress. The scenario, a simulated attack on a mining station in neutral space. Kael, seated on the bridge, watched the ship's systems come alive. He smiled faintly, the implications clear. "They thought they could humiliate us," he said calmly, "but all they did was give us the push to change everything." The next step would be decisive. The Heliarchus wasn't just a ship. It was proof that Earth could defy the impossible and triumph. The Zynthari insisted that their gesture was one of friendship, but no one on Earth believed them. On the bridge of the newly christened Ascendant, Commander Dorian Kael stared into the void with a fixed gaze. The ship's name was a challenge to the Zynthari's arrogance, who believed humanity lacked resolve. Now, the Ascendant was far more than a heap of scrap. It was a robust machine, a testament to human ingenuity. "Status report," Kael ordered. "Engine stable, weapon systems ready," replied Arlen Voss from the engineering station. "We're prepared." "Navigation set for the rendezvous point," added Lena Corrin from the tactical station. The Zynthari are already in position. As the Ascendant emerged from hyperspace, the 5 Zynthari ships appeared on the main screen. Towering and resplendent, they looked like predators circling vulnerable prey. Kael didn't flinch. If they underestimated the Ascendant, it would be a grave mistake. A communication interrupted the bridge's focus. "Human vessel, Ascendant. You are cleared to participate in the exercise." Your objective is to capture the station. Try to keep it under control. The condescension in the Zynthari's voice was unmistakable. Kael allowed himself a faint smile. Let them think we're weak, he thought. It will only make our victory sweeter. Team, he said firmly, let's show them what we're capable of. Take us to position. The Ascendant advanced toward the dormant mining station in the asteroid field. The Zynthari ships held their flawless formations, watching as though they expected the Ascendant to falter before even beginning. The tension grew. Contact in 30 seconds, Lena announced. Voss, prepare the weapons, Kael ordered. The crew knew this battle was more than just a test for the ship. It was a test for Earth, and failure was not an option. Orlis, status of the cloaking module, Kael asked, his firm voice cutting through the noise of the bustling bridge. The physicist adjusted a few controls at his makeshift station and looked up with a slight smile. Not perfect, but operational. The hybrid design should mask our energy signature long enough to get close. The cloaking module was one of the Ascendant's greatest achievements. Created from repurposed alien components, it allowed the ship to become nearly invisible to sensors. For short periods, it wasn't flawless, but it provided a rare advantage in the cosmos. Surprise. Good. Salazar, keep the shields offline for now, Kael ordered. We don't want to show our hand too early. As the exercise began, the Zynthari fleet demonstrated their usual military precision. Two of their ships assumed defensive positions around the mining station, while the others advanced aggressively to intercept. It was a textbook strategy, clearly underestimating the Ascendant's capabilities, but Kael had other plans. Activate the cloaking module, he commanded. Jenkins, cut main engines. Let's drift. The hum of the ship's engines faded, replaced by the faint vibrations of the cloaking system. On the sensors, the Ascendant vanished. Positioning behind the asteroid field, Salazar reported. We'll have a clear line of sight to the station in 60 seconds. The Ascendant moved through the field like a spectre, its patched hull blending with the shadows of the asteroids. The Zynthari fleet, confident in their superiority, failed to notice the maneuver. They still haven't adjusted their formation, Orlis observed. Good, Kael replied. Let's make them regret it. As the Ascendant emerged from the asteroid field, the mining station came into view, protected by two Zynthari ships. Their weapons were trained on empty space, where they expected the Ascendant to appear. They weren't prepared for the sudden attack. Aim for their engines, Kael ordered. The Ascendant's kinetic weapons fired, a precise barrage striking the first Zynthari ship. Within seconds, its engines erupted in flames, leaving it dead in space. Target neutralized, Salazar reported. The battle was far from over, but humanity had already made a statement. They were ready to defy expectations. The second Zynthari ship advanced to respond, but the Ascendant was already in motion. Salazar, bring the plasma cannons online, Kael ordered. The experimental weapons, another triumph of human engineering, roared to life. Incandescent plasma balls shot through space, slamming into the enemy hull. The Zynthari shields began to falter under the relentless impact, and, within moments, both defenders were neutralized. The station is ours, Salazar announced with a note of pride. Not yet, Kael corrected, his eyes fixed on the movements of the remaining enemy ships. Here comes their counterattack. The Zynthari fleet, realizing their strategic error, began to regroup. 3 ships advanced quickly, their weapons glowing as they prepared to fire, but Kael had one final move to play. Orlis, he said firmly, activate the EMP. With pleasure, Orlis replied, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. An electromagnetic pulse rippled through the asteroid field, momentarily silencing the chaos of the battle. The Zynthari ships, caught off guard, drifted lifelessly. Their systems shut down, their shields collapsed, and their weapons fell silent. "Now's our chance," Kael said. "Focus on their engines. Let's finish this." The Ascendant moved with surgical precision, disabling the remaining ships one by one. When the exercise finally ended, the asteroid field was eerily silent. Ascendant hovered alone, battered but victorious. A transmission from the Zynthari broke the stillness, this time with a hesitant tone. "Human vessel Ascendant, exercise complete. Your performance was unexpected." Kael allowed himself a faint smile. "Unexpected, you'd better get used to it." Despite the victory, the Zynthari didn't seem pleased. To them, humanity had been a minor player, meant to passively observe the galactic theater. Now they were forced to reconsider. Hours later, Kael sat in the Ascendant's conference room, facing a projection of the Zynthari emissary. The alien, with its glistening blue carapace, seemed uneasy under the ship's cold lighting. "Your methods were unorthodox," the emissary commented. "We question whether they were within the exercise's parameters." Kael leaned back in his chair, his demeanor calm. "The objective was to capture the station, and we did. If your ships weren't prepared for human innovation, that's not our problem." The emissary's silence spoke louder than any argument. Earth had shown it wasn't just an observer. It was a player, ready to shape its own destiny. Jenkins' laughter echoed through the room, but it did little to dispel the tension in the air. Salazar offered a faint smile, while the Zynthari emissary, visibly frustrated, clicked its mandibles in silence. "Your performance has raised questions," the alien admitted, its discomfort apparent. Before it could continue, Kael ended the transmission with a sharp motion. The room fell silent. "They're shaken," Jenkins said. "I've never seen a Zynthari hesitate like that before." Salazar folded his arms. "It's not just them. Other species were watching this exercise. Everyone's wondering how we turned scrap into something capable of defeating a Zynthari fleet." Kael turned to face his team, his expression stern. "Let them wonder. But we're not done yet. If we stop now, they'll find a way to twist this into something trivial. We need to push further." Orlis looked up from his console. "What's the next step?" "We take the Ascendant into the unknown," Kael replied. "If we chart a new system or discover something significant, we won't just prove our worth. We'll show we're ready to shape our future." The proposal was bold, even dangerous, but no one in the room hesitated. They all understood what was at stake. 3 weeks later, the Ascendant was navigating the Scorvin Expanse, a region feared for its gravitational anomalies and unstable wormholes. Few ships dared to enter, which was exactly why Kael had chosen it. As they mapped the treacherous space, the Ascendant's hybrid systems performed better than anyone had expected. On the bridge, tension grew as the crew monitored an unusual anomaly. "Captain!" Orlis called, his voice heavy with urgency. "I'm detecting something, a structure. It's not natural." Kael stood, his focus sharp. "Explain." "It's ancient, very ancient," Orlis replied, his voice a mix of awe and apprehension. Kael studied the data on the monitors. "Bring us closer. Carefully. Let's uncover what the galaxy tried to hide." As the Ascendant moved forward, the suspense on the bridge was almost palpable. Something monumental was about to be revealed. "We're picking up an energy signature. It's massive," Orlis reported, tension clear in his voice. Kael leaned closer to the screen. "Pinpoint the source." "Almost there," Orlis replied. "Whatever it is, it's artificial. Something monumental." As the Ascendant advanced, a colossal structure emerged from the void. It was an astral crucible, its surface covered in intricate alien patterns, radiating an imposing presence. The crew fell silent, absorbing the sight. Relics like these were beyond rare. They were legendary, capable of building entire fleets and weapons of unimaginable power. "This changes everything," Kael said. "Prepare shields and weapons. We don't know what we're about to face." The astral crucible stirred. Automated defenses activated, unleashing swarms of drones that moved like predators. "We're surrounded!" Jenkins shouted. "Activate the weapons and hold formation!" Kael commanded. The Ascendant responded with full force. Its hybrid systems, a testament to human ingenuity, engaged the drones with relentless precision. Even as the hull trembled under the impact, the crew stayed focused. Every shot brought humanity closer to a decisive victory. After what felt like an eternity, the last drone fell. The astral crucible ceased its offensive, as if recognizing the Ascendant as worthy. The bridge fell into a heavy silence, broken only by Salazar. "We did it. The astral crucible is ours." Kael, however, was far from complacent. "This victory is only the beginning. The galaxy underestimated us when we turned junk into something powerful. Now with this, they'll see what we're truly capable of." The crew exchanged glances. They knew what lay ahead. The astral crucible wasn't just a conquest. It was a declaration, a chance to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. But it was also a risk. The Zynthari command and other species wouldn't stand idly by. "Take the astral crucible back to Earth," Kael ordered. "Not as a trophy, but as a promise that humanity is here to stay." As the Ascendant began its return journey, the echoes of this victory started to resonate across the galaxy. Earth was no longer an insignificant speck. It was a force destined to shape its own future. The destiny of humanity was written with courage and innovation. Today we've shown that even the faintest light can shine in the universe's darkest void. And now, with the astral crucible in our hands, the question remains, what will we do with this power? Subscribe to the channel and follow the next steps of this galactic saga. Because in the end, the stars don't belong to those who simply admire them, but to those who dare to claim them.